I'm Leo. I'm 25 right now, and I've been doing parkour since about 10 years, I think. So it's been quite a while. I moved to Stuttgart for my studies, so I've been here for the last 4 years, I think, or 5 years. And yeah, since then involved in the parkour community here. It's really nice because especially in Stuttgart, the parkour community is very organized and pretty large in overall. I would say that there are groups in different places all over, right? But in Stuttgart specifically, it's like very organized, right? It's an actual association. We have different things that we organize and do, with like workshops, and we do like introductions for like people, and we're organizing a big jam, which is coming up next month. It's going to be great.
As a beginner, you can't even do like the basics, and I was so ashamed of how bad I was, and but I kept going, and the guys also were very nice. And in parkour, the people don't tell you, oh, you suck, stop coming, or oh, that jump was not far enough, you're a loser, or something like that. They just encourage you and say, oh, that was good. And if you're like struggling with a move and you try over and over again, and even if it's just a small jump, if you manage to do it, they cheer you up and they say, oh, that was great, and you did it. And so that's what I like about parkour. It's not like competitive. You don't have a trainer who tells you, oh, you have to get better for the competition, otherwise you will lose and you will not get the prize. And that there's nothing like that in parkour. So yeah.
So it's actually funny. I never thought about getting into parkour, but in school we used to play catch, and I kind of been fooling around with some movements which I later on learned were part of parkour, like a cat pass. And then like a friend of mine, he was like, oh yeah, you know, that's parkour, and my cousin actually is training parkour. You want to come along and check it out? And I was like, don't know, man. But then I ended up going, and I stayed. Yeah, most people be saying it'd be more like a way of life, and it's actually that. It's like, it's very impactful if you really like doing it, because you can do it everywhere. And as such, like, for example, I don't own a pair of pants I can't train in, so wherever I'm going, like sometimes you just be 5 minutes sitting around, be like, maybe here's like a small challenge and it's fun. So yeah, it's just great. Ja, ich mach den Blei einfach.
I think that the risk factor is something that is very important to the parkour, in the sense that you don't actually take risks. So you train up to a point where you know that you can safely do a movement, and then you can do it. But you would never just send something and be like, oh, let's just see, let's hope I can land it, let's go, here I go, let's just send it. That's not how it happens. So you would always work up to something, and then once you have that confidence to do it, you do it. And then it may look like it's an incredible risk. Let's say if you jump onto like a bar that is like very high up, and like you don't want to miss it or something, it looks crazy dangerous. Like imagine that person falls. But if it's a movement that's so embedded into you, and you've done it so many times, and you've trained up to it, and you've jumped onto bars over and over again, it's just like taking a step. And when you know you can, for example, everyone knows you can take a step, you're not just going to miss the ground and put your foot on the wrong side. If you really concentrate about it, it's the same thing. So yeah, the mental aspect is that.
There are like different aspects of it. So for example, if I'd be doing a backflip, obviously rotating backwards over your head is very mental. It's very mentally taxing, and learning it and getting used to the fear and overcoming it is a big part. But it starts small. For example, if we like doing a precision jump, which is we jump to a very specific spot and then we stick it, so we land it and we stay there, like, you know, glued onto a stick. And if I'd be doing like on a small edge, it's not mentally taxing. But then if you start doing it like on a bar like here, it becomes huge because like there's nothing beneath and you have to be very precise. Now if you scale it up a bit, for example, you'd be doing a precision jump in like on bars, but now they're about 2 meters or 250 high. Now it's a very big challenge for you mentally. And for example, I'm quite afraid of heights. I have a big problem with it. And instead of thinking that you don't have to be afraid, or if you are afraid it's bad, you have to learn to accept the fear and deal with it and overcome it. But there's always like the part which is very healthy. It's healthy to be afraid because your body tells you, no man, that's very bad idea. And then there's the part of being uncomfortable with something or like thinking you can do it, and you have to learn which kind of fear you're feeling and learn to put some of that aside and get used to it. But it will always be there, and it's a very important part in my opinion.
If you're not doing parkour, you might say, oh, that's crazy, I could not do that, I would break all my bones. Like people say that very often, but if they actually try it, like they will notice how much they actually can do. So that was what I wanted to find out, because when I did my first jump, like just a small precision jump, I was so afraid and I thought that I could not jump off the floor with 2 feet. That's really crazy. And now I jumped so far that I could not have imagined that back then. So that's what keeps me going in the sport.
When you watch a video and someone does something crazy, right? Usually you see this crazy run, right? And the people it looks like they just go for it and they're like, just jump and they hope that it's solid, whatever they step on. But what you don't see is that behind the scenes, like always, the run is just the culmination of like the training, right? It's once you've finished your line, you've trained for it. So you never like just run and then improvise. Like improvisation doesn't really happen as much in parkour. You would always like check everything before, like how solid is this rail? Can I step on it? All right, it's good. Let's see how much grip does it have. Let's go to from where can I jump from here? Oh, let's go into that wall. How is the surface of that wall? Oh, it's nice. Okay, let's go. You would never just jump and hope and improvise.
The community is so welcoming. It's like I've never been to a place where the community is not super welcoming. So basically, when I want to go anywhere in Germany and I know someone, or even somewhere else, I've been staying in Miramas, which is quite famous in France, because they have a parkour camp in like a forest. I've been staying there for a month. I've been living there. Because the community is so welcoming and can't even speak French and they can't speak English. So it's kind of weird, you know? There's always the understanding that we are a community and we help one another. And we can't, like, no one can push challenges alone. And even the people that are very egotistical understand that you cannot push yourself super far on your own.